When Equinor changed its name from Statoil in early 2018, it marked one of the first big oil companies to publicly shift away from oil. It laid out a plan to become a net zero company by 2050 and performs better than peers on the majority of Bloomberg's environmental measures. But despite Equinor's clear shift in strategy, it was still labeled Norway's biggest greenwasher by a coalition of 5 environmental groups this year. Their criticism? The company is not moving fast enough. We're joined now by Equinor's Executive Vice President for Exploration and Production, Al Cook. Al, I guess the question is, why aren't you moving faster?
Well, I think it's a good question for the world. And in a sense, the world at the moment is not keeping pace with the pace of the rhetoric. We're seeing a lot of positive signs in terms of the world moving on from oil and gas to broad forms of energy and renewable energies. But this year alone, we're going to see an increase in demand of over 5% in oil as the world recovers from coronavirus. Last year, if you look, there was huge increases in gas imports into India and large increases of gas imports into China, even in the middle of coronavirus. So at the moment, demand is increasing fast and probably by most measures will continue to increase through the 2020s. So I think more needs to be done.
So you say more needs to be done. Where does that impetus need to come from? The private sector, like in companies like yours, or do you need to see more from governments as well?
I think we need to see everyone working together. Together is the key thing here. So at the moment, we're seeing demand go up and supply naturally follows that. So we need to work on both sides of the equation. The key piece here is that we need to address demand side, and we in our industry need to address the supply side. And the most important thing we're doing at the moment is if the demand for oil and gas continues to grow, continues to be strong, it's really, really important how we make that oil and gas and how we drive down the carbon footprint of that oil and gas. At the moment, for every barrel of oil that comes out of the earth, that generates around about 17 to 18 kilograms of carbon dioxide. In Equinor, we're down at half that. We generate about 8 kilograms of carbon dioxide, but we need to continue to drive that down. So that's one of the areas that our industry and our company can really help this. But it's everyone working together is the key.
So if oil and gas is still going to have a role to play, you need to try and make that cleaner or greener. What technology enables you to do so?
Well, the first thing we're doing is sorting out the emissions that we as a company create. So we're doing things like electrifying our platforms offshore. If you look at our flagship project, Johan Sverdrup, that's electrified using renewable energy, renewable power. And that now has a carbon footprint of less than 1 kilo of carbon dioxide per barrel produced. So around about 1/16 of the global average. We're also looking at ways in which we can take any carbon dioxide produced and bury that safely beneath the rocks. And we've been doing that on 2 of our fields, Sleipner and Snøhvit in Norway. And then just in the last couple of months, we've moved forward with a technology mostly found in onshore power stations. And we've taken that offshore to our Brazilian projects on a field called Bacalhau. And that's CCGT, combined cycle gas turbines, and that drives down the emissions associated with power generation offshore. So those are some of the examples of what we're doing around the world to reduce our own emissions. But the next stage will be to reduce the emissions of our consumers as well. The main way that we believe we can do that is through the creation of clean hydrogen. Now, clean hydrogen addresses the challenges that renewables have around intermittency and around intensity. And when hydrogen burns, all you get as a product is water vapor. So you're not causing climate change. So that's really key. So at the moment, we're moving forward with hydrogen projects in the United Kingdom, in the European Union. And I'm really pleased to be able to announce that we're now moving forward, looking at a project in the United States, together with a great American company, US Steel, that's a huge consumer of natural gas in the United States.
Thanks so much to Al Cook, Executive Vice President for Exploration and Production at Equinor. And it's not just what oil companies produce that can